These are the words that Cain said regarding our progeny, as he ruled in Enoch as king. Hear the words of Cain, lawgiver. Thou shalt not make progeny against my will. And if you are given leave, then choose of those children of Adam well. Think of them as your future brother or sister. Look to the everlasting night ahead and know Ariel's prophecy, that forever shall child rise up to slay sire. Know thou that, as in all things, the father overcomes the child, the mother her daughter. Only through me will you come to truth. Only through me will you come to peace. Only through me will you awake to your power. Know thou that the right to life or death, as it is in my times, will ever be the sire's over the child's. For it has been set in heaven, as well as in this world, the way of things. My father, Adam over me, I over you. You, my children, over all progeny you get. Thou shalt not suffer your child to live, if it is found that he has killed one of your brothers, and has drunk his heart's blood. This is the serpent's way, and I will not abide it. Thou shalt not embrace those who are unworthy. Thou shalt not use the embrace as punishment. Neither shall you embrace the youngest, who should live long before being brought into my family, so that the wisdom of our line will grow. Thou shalt not embrace those who are diseased, insane, or full of ill humors, for they will taint the blood. Never shall there be more kindred of Cain than kindred of Seth in a place. Neither should there be one of Cain for every 3 of Seth. All children should learn from their sire the law and the traditions, the rites and the customs, as I have given them to you. Thou shalt not embrace the moon beasts, for these should be outcasts and called abomination. Neither should you taste of their blood, for they are forbidden. They bring death to our door. Embrace not the blood of the enlightened. Rather listen to their words, watch their actions, and move swiftly against them should they strike. A useful sword, but often too sharp. Taste not the blood of the wild ones, for in it is madness. Neither should you embrace them, for you will not survive it. Embrace not love, for love in my embrace will grow cold, wither, and die. Greetings, Kindred and Cainites, brothers and sisters in Cain. I am Bishop Faith. Thank you for coming here for this midnight mass so we can discuss the Church of Caine and what exactly it is. Where the Camarilla hides away in its salons, playing Elysium games, making things worse for the younger, while the Sabbat rampage through the streets and terrorize humans and Cainites alike. We focus on what Cain wanted. We are not cursed by God. We are blessed. Cain is a Messiah to us. He is the first coming. And he is the one who, through the bloodlines, through the fangs that we all bear, has chosen you as the children of Cain. Chosen you as the dark angels to continue on what we as a society are meant to do. The masquerade is fine and all good, but that's common sense. We hide ourselves because we need to feed. We need to feed from those individuals that Cain has told us to follow. But tonight here we talk about progeny. Of progeny, specifically in this book of progeny. You see, the Camarilla deny the validity of this book. The Sabbat take what they want. They are cafeteria Catholics, picking and choosing what they want to follow. And where, yes, they may follow the Chronicle of Cain, they ignore the Chronicle of Shadows. The Chronicle of Shadows, which is Cain's word passed down to us. Now, I myself can tell you all about the Sabbat. I was once Sabbat. I was impacted in the back of the head by a shovel one night long ago. I found myself acting as priest for a pack of hooligan monsters that wanted nothing but to spread destruction. It was horrific. And through the act of the Vaniculum, through the act of the Valdery, I was brainwashed. I was blood controlled by those heathenistic beasts. The ones who revel in the darkness. That's what the Sabbat does. Their rituals, they're all demented versions of the true faith. We need to understand. And in Progeny it tells us, do not embrace the sick. Do not embrace the insane. Do not embrace of the other denizens of the world. Do not take in the moon beasts, the werewolves, the children of the wild, those fey creatures, the changelings that can poison our blood. But one of the most important things is we do not embrace out of love. If we embrace out of love the lust for power that we all have, will consume that love. And child will rise up against sire, much like it did in the days of Enoch. With the third generation rose up and slew the second, Cain's chosen, which he embraced out of love. We also do not embrace out of vengeance. We don't punish by giving them our gift, our dark gift. No. Those who are embraced out of love and out of hate, they rise to become these pitiful creatures within the ivory tower and the black hand. No. We embrace out of what is needed. We bring in those who will make the flock stronger. Those who can rise up above the weaknesses that this gift gives us, because it's searching for the diamond in the rough. We have to be strong enough to pull ourselves out of the temptations that the blood gives, so that we can be the stronger. We can become better. And we can rise above everything the Camarilla and the Sabbat has placed on us. In Cain's name. That was fun. Oh my god, I haven't played that character in a long time. That was actually the third character I've ever played. His name is Christian Faith. You'll learn more about him as time goes by, because the next several installments of Midnight Mass are going to be based off the Church of Caine and everything they do. And today covered Progeny. Progeny is such an interesting thing. I chose to do this, by the way, because in the Book of Nod, there's a full section called the Chronicle of Shadows that there's no way on earth the Sabbat would ever follow. Now, also, keep in mind that that does not make the Sabbat hypocrites. That doesn't make them hypocrites at all, because the Book of Nod that's out there, the this one right here, I just realized that it goes into obfuscate when I tilt it. This one right here was provided by a Malkavian named Aristotle de Laurent, made up of various fragments found, and also whether or not he and Beckett happened to just throw stuff in there, or others. Not to mention there's a lot of contradictory stuff in there, such as the Giovanni being marked as the clan of death in the times of Enoch. So the Church of Caine is so interesting. They have their own hierarchy, their own everything. And I figured, why not start this off? It is Samhain. It is All Hallows Eve. It is the Palais Grand. It's time to dress up for costumes, so why not? That was a lot of fun. And so I guess let's just talk about the Church of Caine in general, the various little tiny things that we can actually learn. So tonight, let's just go ahead and read the unofficial White Wolf wiki on what the actual biography of the Church of Caine is. It's actually got a lot of really cool information in it. It's unclear how the legacy of the Cainite heresy survived so long in secret before being able to resurface in modern nights. Those who could possibly know more, that is, those who would be old enough to remember the original heresy, have either met final death, reside deep in torpor, or have experienced the beckoning, and are not available for an interview. It is, in fact, a cult led by Methuselah. As may normally be expected, then it does not show, as its hierarchy is not dependent on age, clan, or lineage. What is known for certain is that the church has emerged from the shadows only since the start of the beckoning. In fact, that members of the church are more than willing to use the reticle advantage. This actually kind of suggests that there might be some ancient kindred who has not suffered the beckoning, who is controlling this church. And I'm going to whip out the jump to conclusions, Matt, here, but what about Garanol? What about Garanol from Redemption? He was a Cappadocian that resided in the Petrin Hill Monastery. Now, I'm sure that there is some information about what might have happened to that guy, but he was, in fact, a character who followed the Cainite heresy. In fact, when you're rampaging through the Cappadocian area in the game at the beginning, you get stopped by your compatriot Wilhelm to tell you what the Cainite heresy is, and that Garanol practices it. Now, in fact, if you go into Garanol's history itself, it says that ultimately Garanol was forced to flee the old world and set out for the new world to escape final death or diablerie by his clan cousins, the Giovanni. His ship never arrived, however, and Garanol was lost to torpor at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean while the fish of the deep waters consumed his flesh. So that does not necessarily mean he's dead. In fact, I kind of like the idea that animals are repelled by kindred flesh. The idea that they wouldn't want to eat it. I guess it could fit there, however, because maybe kindred is addicting, but that also doesn't mean he's dead either. So he could have risen from his torpor during the beckoning and came back and spread it. Or maybe this is another thing the Capuchin are doing. Now, this does not specifically have to be something led by some mysterious Hecata. It could be anybody, really. This could be somebody who found their sire's old journals after they left, or artifacts, and just decided to keep the Cainite heresy going. Recently, the church has transitioned towards a new form of doctrine, with the perverse call to revel in the delights created by the powers of the blood. Cainites are bound to provide knowledge to Cainites to curb disastrous outcomes. Cainites are to drink deeply in the wisdom of the Cainite condition and their history, to forego repeating the errors of the past. They are angels in this world, and it is their duty to uplift others from squalid hell to the heaven Cain and his faithful followers occupy. This, united with participating within the jihad and providing compassionate reconciliation to their fellow damned, can elevate Cainites to a higher sense of being. So the belief that the world is a layered hell with strata of deserving and undeserving individuals, some of whom are being punished for sins they committed eons ago, before they came to possess the current forms, is one all the church's priests come to understand and believe in. So there's a very high sense of reincarnation involving in this as well. As soon as a Gnostic accepts this reality, it makes feeding and killing a lot easier. The moral damage can be severe, but the detachment from the basic human perception of earth beings, one to a new state of enlightenment, to ascend towards heaven. The cult maintains a vampire must be capable of overcoming their fear of hell's weapons. The Church of Caine do not believe the demiurge made vampire vulnerable to fire, but rather this burden is a holdover from their time among hell's denizens. So they believe they came from hell originally, that they're trying to work their way up. After all, are mortals not harmed by fire too? That's actually something that always caught me really strong. Is like, oh no, my weakness is fire. Everything's weakness is fire. Enough fire will kill anything. Stop and think about that for just a second. There is no true vampire weakness to fire. The exact same amount of fire that will kill a vampire will kill a human. It might take a little longer to kill a werewolf, but that's because they have that weird natural regeneration thing. But it does make a lot of sense. I always found that funny that that was considered one of the curses of Cain. It's just because they have so many resistances to everything else. Now, they reason Cain must be immune to this element by now, so they must attempt to be the same way. And so the church preaches that Gnostics must defeat the fire by staring at it, handling it, and walking through it. The same will apply to sunlight when the Gnostics are powerful enough. Arguably, the most controversial of the cult's beliefs is that diablerie is a necessary sacrament. If the Crimson Curia, which by the way is the overarching group of bishops who watch over the Church of Caine, we will get into them deeper later. If they deem a vampire unworthy of their current layer in the hierarchy between heaven and hell, usually due to some grievous crime they've committed against the church in the name of Cain, or because they're a vocal, influential proponent of another faith, so they don't actually follow the Church of Caine, the Curia advocates that they be diablerized. So the Crimson Curia are actually just like, everybody who's not part of the Church of Caine needs to just be diablerized. The Gnostics believe all spirits exist in a cycle and just reform on a lower level when their flesh vessel is destroyed. The only way to prevent this is through the divine act of devouring the soul. So, if you die as a vampire, you basically get sat back to another layer of hell. Since we're all in hell. That's basically what they believe, is they believe that Earth itself is hell, and they need to climb out of it, and they're getting higher and higher every time, getting better and better as they go. And if you don't want people who you're killing to go into a deeper level, you diablerize them. That way, when you ascend to the next level, they do as well. Wow. The only... While practiced rarely, it is not forbidden, nor is it withheld for any reason other than appearances. The Church of Caine has not yet gained sufficient allies to make diablerie an acceptable ritual in Camarilla and Anarch domains, but they are biding their time. So that's about as much as we're going to get into right now as far as the wiki says, because I don't want to get into their their hierarchy until the next one, because the next one is so much fun when we talk about who they are, what levels they are. Basically, all you need to know right now is lower members of the Church of Caine are considered their flock, and they try to bring them in through proselytizing, through accepting of things that the Camarilla and the Sabbat do not accept, and they're at war with everybody. I do find that a lot of anarchs do tend to be very easily manipulated by the Church of Caine. And the reason behind that is because they are accepting the fact that they are now in this supernatural world, which opens up a level of faith to them. So many kindred who are embraced automatically start thinking that because they're a vampire, they're automatically doomed to hell. And the Church of Caine is a great way to escape that belief system. And they do have, in fact, their own convictions, which we will again cover in another video. I love the Church of Caine. I'm so glad that the Cainite heresy has found a way to survive through the modern nights. I cannot wait to dig deep into this. And hopefully, maybe by the end of it, we can actually find out who the Methuselah was who started it. Who's this archbishop that's hiding in the shadows that I don't even know who it is yet? I'm learning with you, because this is such a fun thing that you don't get to see in many games. In fact, I'd like to ask, is there anybody out there whose game is focused on the Cainite heresy? Is there anybody out there who watches this channel who is playing in a game where you are a member of the Cainite heresy, that you're not trying to fight against them, but you're actually working on a storyline where the Cainite heresy, the Church of Caine, is being built up and taking over a city, that they're being run by a bishop, and maybe they're fighting off the Camarilla and the Sabbat and the Anarchs and Hunters and whatever else, but they're going about it by the ways that the Church of Caine would go for. I'm very interested in that. Now, for everybody else, I would like to say happy Halloween, happy Samhain, happy whatever it is that you all practice. I love tonight, and this is a high holy day for me, and we get to dress up and have fun, eat candy, and watch horror movies and have fun. With that said, I am Voivode Maquette. This is our World of Darkness, and thank you for joining me in Season 2 of Midnight Mass. We are going to deep dive as far as we can over the next few months into the Cainite heresy, into the Church of Caine itself. And you guys are going to get to meet my fun little character, Faith. And you guys are going to get to learn a little bit more about how this crazy vampire runs his existence. If you're interested in helping out the channel, please keep in mind that we do have a Patreon where our members get status and early access to videos, and we're working on, if I can get people in the higher echelons of the Patreon, an online game where if you participate in this Luminary game, because the highest level of status on my Patreon is Luminary, if I get members in the Luminary section enough to be able to run a game, it will be a game that affects the Thicker Than Water Chronicle, where you will be able to do things that screw with my players at my table. So, if anybody's interested in that, please keep in mind of that. We also do other storytelling events, so keep that in mind, ask questions, and I will see you next time in our World of Darkness. Good evening, and happy Halloween.